Good evening. I would like to call to order the February 24th, 2020 Lake Washington School Board meeting. Please let the record reflect that all board members are present except for Director Carlson, who is excused. So to begin the evening, I will entertain a motion to approve the February 24th agenda.
I can't remember. Is now the appropriate time to move to amend the agenda?
Yes.
Thank you. I move to remove OE8 from the agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right. There's been a motion to remove Operation Expectations 8 from the agenda, and it will come back on a future agenda. Is that the motion?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Please respond by saying aye. Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. With that, motion carries, and so OE will be removed from the agenda on the non-consent and be placed on next month's agenda. So with that, our next step that we have up is we just did approve the agenda. Go ahead. I am, is recognition. So Dr. Stavum.
Yes, and while I am introducing this segment of our agenda, I'll ask Stephen Bryant to come up. And this is the fun night when we get to recognize our teachers who have achieved national board certification. And for people who don't know what this is, it's a very rigorous program that teachers commit to that's really a mark of excellence for the teaching profession. It involves a lot of hard work. It involves a lot of coursework, a lot of in-depth pedagogical work, and really is something that we value in our teaching profession and we value here in Lake Washington. So with that, I'm going to have Stephen give us some more information and introduce our wonderful teachers tonight.
Thank you. And I turned on the presentations, but there isn't a presentation, so there's just a little speech. So thank you. I'd like to thank our school board and superintendent for this opportunity to honor this year's National Board Certified Teachers. The National Board process was created in 1987. The National Board for Professional Teaching Standards is an independent, nonpartisan, and nonprofit organization devoted to advancing the quality of teaching and learning. The National Board certification process consists of successful achievement in 4 components. Component 1 is a computer-based assessment that asks educators to demonstrate understanding of knowledge and pedagogical practices for their certificated area. Component 2 is differentiation in instruction. This portfolio requires educators to gather and analyze information about individual students' strengths and needs, and to use that information to design and implement instruction to advance student learning and achievement. Component 3 is teaching practice and learning environment. This portfolio requires video recordings of interactions between the educator and students. The educator must describe, analyze, and reflect upon the instruction and interactions with students. The last component, component 4, is a reflective practitioner. This portfolio requires demonstration of evidence as an effective and reflective practitioner in developing and applying knowledge of students. This includes the use of assessments to effectively plan for and positively impact students, and collaboration to advance students' learning. All 4 components are scored by trained National Board certified like peers. Washington State and Lake Washington School District continue to be leaders in increasing the number of National Board certified teachers. Numbers released by the National Board for Professional Teaching Standards show that Washington has the most new National Board certified teachers of any state, with 854 this school year. The total number of 10,859 National Board certified teachers makes Washington the 3rd in the country overall. This year, Lake Washington School District has 31 newly certified teachers that we will recognize tonight. This brings this year's count of Lake Washington School District certified teachers to 336, which is 5th in the state. Certification is a 1 to 3 year process that includes taking the computer-based assessment, content assessment, and assembling the 3 portfolios. According to the National Board Organization, completing the certification shows that each teacher knows and practices the definitive standards of accomplished teaching. Chris Reichtel, Superintendent of Public Education, notes, the hard work, determination, and relentless self-reflection it took to get to this point is a major accomplishment. We are delighted again to welcome the largest class of new National Board certified teachers in the country. In addition, Governor Inslee said, each year we see more and more of our teachers successfully become National Board certified teachers. Great teaching leads to great outcomes for our students, and we're proud each of these educators for completing such a rigorous process. The success of our National Board Certification Program rests on a strong partnership with the Lake Washington Education Association and our district. We are grateful for this partnership and the support that this partnership provides to our district educators. Once again, we are proud of our new 17 National Board Certified teachers and 14 National Board Renewal teachers. We are pleased with this opportunity to recognize them for their achievement. At this point, I'd like to introduce Kathy Colombo and Leanne Jackson, who facilitate our National Board Certified candidates. They will read the names of our newly certified and recertified educators, and we're going to invite them up who are in attendance up and come forward so that they can receive their district recognition. And we're also going to ask them to stay up here so that we can get a group photo of them. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks, Stephen. So we're going to read all the names, but we do know that not everyone is present. But Emma Albertson we know is here, so please come up. Yay, Emma. Sarah Brew. Yay. Amy Doty. Yes, yes. Oh, she could come up too, right? What about kids? Lauren Galletti could not be here. No, it's great. Amanda Higgins. Congratulations. Dana Tsai. Yay. Dan Mahoney. Yay, Dan. I know, it's just like, yeah, there you go. Amanda Martell. Yay, Amanda. Ingrid Morass could not be here this evening. She also is board certified. Scott Paul. Congratulations. Nicole Payette. Yay. Casey Simpson. Yeah, wherever you. Right here. Okay. Allison Singh could not be here tonight. Alexandra Straight. Did you prefer Alex? Congratulations. Kinsey Underbrink could not be here this evening, nor could Alan Semrau. He just had a little one, his first, and is staying home to take care of the little one. Desiree Woodruff. Congratulations, Desiree. Those are all the newly certified. So the renewals, Denise Lemieux. Congratulations. Yeah. Alicia Igashira could not be here this evening. There's also renewals. Stacy Kelly could not be here. Ron Myers here. Congratulations, Ron. Lisa Benenkavort. Yes. There you go. Thank you. Melissa Renardi could not be here. Alicia Robertson could not be here. Stephen Delegan is not here this evening. David Peabody is not here. Danielle Meyer is not here. Jennifer Harris could not be here. Steve Okun could not be here. And Chanel Murray is not here. So we'll make sure that they get their certificates and their pins. So congratulations.
So if you can all hang for 1 second, we're going to step down, so we'd like a picture to say thank you very much for all your hard work.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to put a few board members on.
Oh, here, we can stand behind them.
Some of us aren't tall enough.
All right, we'll see.
Yeah, can you squeeze us a little bit more?
We have one more chair.
Turn sideways.
We're gonna take a few over here, ready?
Nice job. And you, young lady, good to say hi to your daughter. So nice to see you. So much fun. I appreciate Thank you.
Memory, upgrade my storage.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to go ahead and get started with our meeting and continue, and appreciate your taking the time. The next item on our agenda is public comment. So the Board of Directors does provide regular opportunities for public comment during board meetings, and this time is reserved during our regular board meeting for the board to hear from the public. At this point, we have no one signed up for public comment, so I'm just going to continue on to the next item on our agenda. And the next item is the consent agenda. And so I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Director La Liberty and seconded by Director Sage. Dr. Staven, will you pull the board?
Director Sage. Director La Liberty.
Yes.
Director Stewart.
Yes.
And President Bleasner.
Yes. And Dr. Staven, could you please summarize the donations?
I will. Our donations this month come to us in the amount of $50,105.75 from our PTSA, and from private sources, the amount of $3,953.50. for a grand total of donations of $54,059.25, for which we are very grateful.
Yes, thank you very much. And so next up is our non-consent agenda. And the first item is redirecting the bond proceeds and matching funds. So Dr. Stephen?
Yep, and I'll ask Barbara Posthumus, our Associate Superintendent for Business and Support Services, to come. And if you recall, we had this at our last board meeting for a public hearing, and so Barbara will just give us a brief recap.
I just have a few slides to give you a recap of what we shared at our last February 10th meeting. Can you get the slides up? There we go. All right, just as a reminder, the resolution before you is about repurposing or redirecting bond proceeds and matching funds for the 2016 bonds. We currently have multiple revenue sources for our capital construction projects, and that includes our 2006 bonds and state construction assistance, our 2016 bonds and state construction assistance, and our 2019 capital levy. We are bringing in all those revenue streams at different times, and the expenditures are ongoing and overlapping. So working with our legal counsel, they advised us to repurpose the 2016 bond funds so that all the revenue sources for all projects can be used for all of the projects that have been approved. So the 2006 bonds were repurposed in October 2014 and May 2019 to allow funds to be used for capacity and levy projects. And so this resolution has the 2016 bonds being repurposed for those same projects. And it will allow funds to be used on any approved bond and levy project. It allows any estimated remaining funds to be used for other approved capital projects such as portables, remodeling, property. And it allows the same use as the 2006 bonds. We held a public hearing at the last board meeting on February 10th. We received no comments at the board meeting or between board meetings. And so tonight, we ask that the board take action on adopting the resolution.
Thank you. Any questions from board members? Seeing none, with that, I'll now entertain a motion to adopt resolution number 2283, redirecting bond proceeds and matching funds as presented.
I move to adopt resolution 2283.
Second.
It's been moved by Director LaLiberty and seconded by Director Stewart that we adopt resolution number 2283 to redirect bond proceeds and matching funds as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor, please signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. All right, well, thank you. They are now repurposed. Okay, and so our last item this evening that we removed operational expectation 8 from the agenda. We have one last item, which is the operational expectation 2 for the emergency superintendent succession. So as you know, this is sort of the start of our monitoring process where we go through all our expectations over the course of the next few months, and this gives the opportunity to see as the policies are implemented and the compliance that comes through. The results will also be coming through. So tonight is the first one that we will do, and so I will turn it over to Dr. Stable.
Thank you. This is a process that we need to make sure is in place for a variety of reasons, and the intent of OE2 as a policy is to make sure that there is coverage in an emergency type of a situation for superintendent responsibilities and duties. Any number of things might present a need, my untimely demise being one that was considered while we're doing this plan, but it's also things beyond that. There are times when you may be in an area where there's no cell phone coverage. There may be times when you're out of the district and an emergency happens within the district, and really it's to make sure that everyone knows what the progression of duties is until the board can appoint someone to be an interim or to permanently resume the position of superintendent. So it's not a long-term plan, but more of a short-term assurance that everything will be covered. So we would present this as being in compliance. And just to briefly go over this plan, which also gone through with cabinet members as well as our central leadership team, is there's a progression of people who may take that responsibility. And so the flow of that progression begins with our cabinet members, starting with our Deputy Superintendent, Dr. John Holman. In the event that he is unable to assume that role, it moves to Barbara Posthumus, then Mike Van Orden, and Matt Gillingham, who are all associate superintendents. And any one of those folks could step in, but we also want a progression so that it's very clear what that order would be. In the event that all of our cabinet members are not available, and thinking about times when we may all be gone to a similar event or be out of town, we also wanted to cover it at that level, at least I do. And so what we would move to at that point, if cabinet becomes unavailable, is really a team structure, and a team structure that represents our entire district with our level directors, and then Shannon Parthamer, Brian Buck, and Chris Brennigan for the areas that they oversee in communication and support services, and Director of Business Services. So then we also have, as part of the plan, just kind of the basic steps that would need to be followed, which is making sure that the board president is aware of the need, and then the board president proceeds to notify other board members, and if he or she would be unavailable, it would then move to the vice president. And so the board is notified, and then as soon as possible, the board would convene per our operational policies that are how you call an emergency meeting and then go about naming somebody to that spot. So we feel like things are well covered. I have some of the expectations listed, which are all things that you would expect to continue, and it just really assures that the work of the district is able to continue uninterrupted, which is the main goal of making sure that this role is covered. So I would present that as our OE2 monitoring report for the board's consideration and vote tonight for approval, indicating our compliance.
Okay, any questions for Dr. Stephen? Director Sage?
This is more of a thank you for that depth of designated survivorship that you just listed. I feel completely confident that one of those people will remain.
Makes me feel a little less confident in my own fate, but you're welcome.
Director
And we're
Stewart?
assured that you're not going to all travel together in the same car at any one point.
Well, you know, those are the kinds of things that do happen on occasion. We are traveling together, although we do think about those things, just like we do with emergency preparedness in other areas. But yes, that is part of the reason why we have factored that in.
All right, seeing no more questions, I'll now entertain a motion to approve the monitoring report for OE2, Emergency Superintendent Succession, to the board as presented.
So moved.
Second.
So it's been moved by Director Liberty and seconded by Director Stewart to approve as presented. Any further discussion on OA2? Any questions, commendations, comments? All right, seeing none, with that, I will move to take a vote. All those in favor of approving OE2 as presented, please signify by voting aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Excellent. So our first one has now been approved. Thank you so much for the comprehensiveness of OE2 to ensure that the district will have clear leadership and superintendent services regardless of the situation. So with that, we will move to Public and Community Affairs. So this weekend, we did have legislators from the 45th, 48th, and the 1st legislative districts holding town hall meetings that some of us were able to attend. Mark, do you have any highlights from the 45th that you'd like to highlight, or?
There seemed to have been a lot of folks that were very interested in the tax situation and local taxes, and Representative Springer was very succinct in making sure they understood the origins and the shortcomings of the clear decision. It was interesting to see the fact that it was very much on the people's mind in the 45th, whereas in the first, zilch. They had other priorities that they wanted to address.
Thank you. Anybody else? I had the opportunity to attend the 45th with our representatives from, the 48th here in Redmond. Very good turnout, lots of focus actually on affordable housing was one of the big components, as well as climate change was another piece. Education was a component. Concerns of drug use and mental health with students was probably the other component that really came out on the education side for us to be thinking about and paying attention to. So our legislators were great, very supportive, and did a really great job. So continue our conversations with them after that. And Eric, do you have any follow-up? Okay. So anything else on public and community affairs? Nope. All right, so with that, we will move to the superintendent report.
And I just have an additional highlight, and hopefully we can recognize this teacher at a future board meeting. We just learned recently National History Day. I don't know if you're familiar with National History Day, but it's a great event for our students. They learn a lot of historical facts and then compete, and it's just a great kind of a competition for kids. But Jill Berg, teacher at Lake Washington High School, was selected as one of only 10 teachers across the nation for National History Day's Library of Congress Master Teacher Program. And what they do is they create some of the materials that teachers use in preparation for students and helping them prepare for the competition. And so their guide will be part of the Library of Congress, Teaching with Primary Sources Consortium for Educators in the United States and around the globe. And so that's a pretty big deal. And so we hope to have Jill come and join us, I think, at a future meeting. But that's one of those things that just recognizes our teachers and their level of expertise and that they get to be part of some really cool things. So we are excited for her. And really, that's about all I have. We're just underway, a normal 5-day week this week that everybody can take advantage of a good, solid week. So that's all I have for my report tonight.
Thank you. And the next item is board member comments. Anything to add to Director LaLiberty?
Probably more appropriate in follow-up, but I just have a request for staff. I know we just had the choice school lottery relatively recently. And I just have never, well, it's been several years since I've seen the data in terms of how many kids are applying. And I'm wondering if we can get that in board briefs. Okay.
Yep, so just to clarify, number of students applying for a choice school.
Yeah, for each program.
Okay.
Could we have it broken out by demographics as well?
I believe so. No? We'll let you know what we can provide to you, and we will get that to you in the next board brief.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yep.
I just want to echo Sari's comment. I would be interested in seeing that as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we collect that with the application. What might be helpful, I'm thinking, is just maybe an overview of the entire process along with the application data. Would that be of value to the board?
Yes, just in the board brief. I don't think we need a presentation.
Okay. Yep, that's what I'm thinking for a board brief.
There was always a lot of interest as the process ends for some kids and begins for others, that the process, knowing the way the process works, but also what kind of field do you have, what kind of vacancies do you often have, how quickly they fill up, all that sort of thing. Any kind of numeric breakdown of the process, I think, would be great for parents.
Is that it? Oh, Director Sage.
I just wanted to give a plug for the Lake Washington Schools Foundation Luncheon. It's coming up March 26th. It's going to be at the Marriott in Redmond, just a walk away from the building we're sitting in right now, at 11:30 a.m. And if anyone is interested in attending, you can reach out to actually any board member who can provide you with that information.
Or their website, www.lwsf.org is the other option, /BeTheBridge. I've been sending it out a bit. All right, the other thing I'd just like to let board members be aware of, we will be having an extended study session in March, and so we will be and that will be getting an agenda out to you in the near future as a draft, sort of the topics we'll be dealing with. So student voice is one of those that's on there, and how do we do that? As well as the community linkages that we've talked about and trying to set up a work plan for the following year. If there's any other ideas that you would like to make sure is on that, please email me, and we can make sure to see how we fit those things in for that weekend. But we'll be sending out the draft agenda in the near future. All right, any other comments? Okay, so with that, our next board meeting is March 9th. Study session is at 5 p.m. followed by a board meeting at 7. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Director Sage and seconded by Director La Liberty that we adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by voting aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, meeting is adjourned.